Heard of the Demi Method? If so, this is a beginner's tutorial for how to get started. If you've been interested in it and you can use stuff you already have, you may have to add a few different little tins, but hang around and you'll see. If you have not heard of the Demi Method, it's when we work with colors on the skin instead of foundation and concealer. And the goal for this is to have zero makeup texture and not look like as if you're wearing makeup. And the benefit from that is there's no creasing, especially when you're on the mature side. I'm 53, and that is a big problem when we are on the older side, is we already have natural creases. So product is just going to settle in them. This method eliminates that. It also does not add any texture. So when you're on the mature side, that's always a problem too, because you already have textured skin naturally. You can improve that with good skincare, but still yet you're going to have skin naturally has texture. So a product like foundation and concealer is just going to add more texture. So I specialize in techniques that really focus on how to eliminate those and the benefits from it. So if you are interested in getting specific graphics or even video clips from me, it's a consultation for me. It's free. You can go to yes.outtherematchme.com and I'll be glad to help you. Or you can grab some of these pretty colors and play along with me. Please ask any questions in the comments. Also, if you need any help, you can ask me in the comments. You can send me a message. Be glad to help. All right, let's get started. I'm going to do something very, very basic and simple so you can get started. I know it's not kosher to drink while I'm live, but it is just water. All right, first I'm going to start with a very, very small brush. This is called the spot brush. This is not the one I had in my hand. This is the one I had in my hand. I have 2 or 3 of these, but a very small brush that is not too coarse, so it doesn't pick up too much product. We want very, very minimal product. And it is time for me to clean my brushes, but we have a little cleaning tile that you can clean it off. So you want a brown color. Now brown comes in many, many different shades. And actually you can wear different shades. So don't get hung up on what shade is best. I think it's best to have a variety, and as your skin changes, which mine does all the time, everybody's does, you will have something to work with. Typically a red brown is really nice to work with, something like this. These are all cream products, ideal. These little tins are translucent, which I really love because it's not going to add that extra texture, and it's very, very small amount of product that you need because it's nothing but pure pigment. And when you're working with pure pigment, you can do so much. And you can see there's nothing really truly beige or light color. It's very bright and colorful. That's in my palette. But these browns, so this is more of a red brown, this is more of a purple brown, this is more of a green brown. Here's another little purple brown. So browns come, it's a neutral shade with the primary colors in it, and it's going to have some different ratios to create either a green brown, a red brown, a purple brown, even an orangey brown or a yellow brown. And you can actually play along with those different browns that you already have. And because we're using it so minimal and in small placement, you can get away with multiple different colors. That's the reason why I highly encourage with what you've got, let's try it. It is going to be ideal if it's a cream, liquid or a powder. I mean, potentially could, but they dry down and they're always going to give some kind of texture. So a cream works really, really well. Now, if you've been here a while with me, what's really great is a tanner, and I'll show you a way to do that with a pen that places it in small points of color, but that's a little intimidating for ladies, especially at the beginning. So this video is for you to learn the idea. And some ladies just like to do it this way and don't want to do the tanner, totally fine. But it's the concept of balancing color on your skin first. So used to, I, for example, was really drawn to like dark areas, anywhere, a bruise here, but some dark areas on your face, and we're drawn to that first. And now I've trained my eyes to look first at the light areas. So it's going to take you a little bit, but you quickly, your eyes adjust to it and you will find them. So start with the eyes. I think is the easiest thing to do, especially if you have any sort of darkness underneath your eyes. Start there and go to a very small brush. Okay, if you don't have like a small makeup brush, you can go to Walmart and get some small little paint brushes. They work as good. They work well. This is the spot brush. I really love these from Seint because they're double-ended. So you can actually have two brushes in one, and they're designed specifically for this concept. So they're really, really nice. I'm going to zoom in just a hair. Okay, I'm going to start with the eyes. So you see when I smile, I naturally have this here, and that's always been with me. Highly recommend you go and look at your pictures when you're much younger. That way you're not, that way you can see what your natural features were when you were younger. Not that I'm trying to look as if I am in my 20s at all. I just want to remember what is natural to me. And this is a natural part of my anatomy, but it has over time become more pronounced because what's around it has gotten lighter. Sometimes this is from sun damage from wearing sunglasses. Sometimes our forehead will be a different color than the rest of our face, especially if you have bangs. You're going to see that it's much lighter than everything else. Just sun, no matter how much protection you wear, you're going to have some kind of changes from that. Okay, so this little light area is making this much darker than it really appears to be. And when I really smile and I see that, when I look, it's actually just one or two little freckles in that area that are dark, and it's making the whole area look dark. So I want to see the light areas in the same manner. So see this little light spot? When I really look at it, it's just kind of like a, I don't know if you can see, let's zoom in, get really personal. See this little light area? When I pull down and look, you can see it's just a light spot, and it's really making this line pronounced. So I'm going to use this color called Henna Contour, and I've used different ones. I've used Indigo, which is here, which is a purple brown. I've done Bella Bronzer, different things. But this is a henna, which is a green brown, which really mimics to me pigment freckling on me. And do you see what I just did? I kind of filled in that area, these little light spots. And notice how I am just, and then there's one right there. And do you see now when I smile, this is not so pronounced. And I actually don't have to put it everywhere. And so this little bit of product and effort, instead of putting on concealer and blend, 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 I am targeting those little light areas. And do you see how that's a lot more balanced? I'm not going to get rid of all the dark right now. I'm just giving it some balance. The analogy I like to use is adding and subtracting, maybe because I'm a former math teacher, just retired. Actually, the first Monday in our area for school to start, and here I am. Love it. Okay, so I like to think of adding and subtracting. So I added, look at that difference. I added value volume value to the light areas. So everything's out of sync. So the dark is really dark and the light is really light, and I added some value to the light. But there's still a little bit of dark there, so I'm going to subtract those few little dark points in there, and they're going to be in balance. And what that does is flatten it out and not make it so pronounced. So typically I go ahead and do all the little light areas first, but right now I'm going to show you what I mean by subtracting. So I'm going to clean off my brush, or you can use another brush. I always like to match the size that I need, because it's just some small little dots of freckling that I need to subtract from. And if I use a big brush, it's just going to put light in the light areas again, and it's going to make a halo, and we're back to square one, I'm subtracting value from that depth that I needed. So I'm going to clean this off, and I am going to see there's a lot of blood vessels right in there. So I'm first going to start with this yellow orange. This is Y01, and you need just a little bit. And I like to look far away to find the dark, and then look into a mirror to find the darkest point within them. And I just need a couple of dots of color, and it's never going to be the whole area, and then you blend it. And there's a little spot right here. Sometimes when you touch a certain area, it might get red. So you just touch and go. Don't keep touching, and then let it rest for a few seconds, and then you'll actually see what you did. So now that's more in balance, and I have zero texture, makeup texture. See that? And that looks now just like my anatomy. It actually gives my cheeks some structure, because this makes me look more tired. Do you see? I still have the structure of my cheek when I smile, but I don't have the disruption of very dark and very light. And then the benefit from this is I'm never going to have it to crease. You don't see any makeup texture, and it looks just like my skin. And that is the goal. That's the reason why I love this method and completely addicted to it and love teaching it. So that is just the eye. So I'm not going to do a whole lot more to that area. And so that right there just brings it into balance. My skin changes often. Sometimes I need a little more here, whatever. But right now, I'm really happy with what that looks like. So I'm going to, how about we do one side of my face and show you the difference between the other. Maybe do that. Okay, so here I'm going to do the same thing, and there's a dark and dark, and you see this little light area. Same concept. Still going to use a small brush. It keeps me behaved so I don't get, and see, look, I've got too much product. You see that spot? And so I can tap it up and down. I don't want to do this because it's going to put it in places. And see, now my skin turns red when I touch it. So don't get zeroed in and think you need to constantly touch. Just trust it and let it go. And do you see how that's looking more even? And there's a light spot here and here. So I'm doing the same thing I did with my under eye. I'm doing the same thing here. It's never going to be everywhere. Now, let's say you're fortunate enough and you don't have really a big contrast. Hey, Jim Pugh. You really don't have a huge contrast between light and dark, and you have pretty even skin tone, then you may not have to use such a little brush. You can use a bigger brush and just do some warmth and some depth with the contour color. I'm not that fortunate. I have these nice blue veins that go all the way up through here. My skin is very translucent the older I get. You see them, they're all here through here. And so it needs some help to keep not to look so translucent, but I'm going to work with that in just a minute because I need color to balance it. But just adding this depth, this brown into these little tiny spots already is giving it some balance. Right here in my cheek, I have a light spot, and you can see that I can actually enhance the shape of my cheek by lightly targeting those light little spots, and see how the cheek is a lot. Now, when I touch it, it gets red, remember, so you just let it calm down. And like this got red a second ago and now it's gone, but you see how that's a lot smoother, and it's just a couple of dots of color. Now, on my forehead currently, it's pretty even tone except for the blue veins. So I can go to a bigger brush. So I want to go to the shape brush, and I want to use the exact same color, henna, and I'm just going to add a little bit of depth right here at the side part. I'm going to leave this half undone, and I can take a picture and show you the difference. And then a lot to go underneath here. So this is typically a pretty fair area as we get older, and you know, kind of icy. So adding a little depth to that. I don't really want to contour. It's not what I'm doing. The concept of contour I don't even do. But what happens when we're balancing the color in our skin, you'll naturally contour. See that little light spot, same size as my brush, and I just add a little depth to that. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit on my nose, on this side, and you can see on the nose, you see these little light spots right here, and it kind of, this discoloration, it's just from sun damage over the years, then lots of deep color here, and so it really can shape shift your nose. I was watching a video of an octopus in the coral reef area, and how it, within just like less than a minute, was able to change its pattern on its skin to look like it had coral growing on it. It made it look like it had barnacles on it. It had looked like it had all these textures like the coral reef around it, and that was all done with color. The octopus didn't change its texture of its skin, just the look of color, just like a painting makes it look like it is in 3D. Well, this is the same concept. We are changing color in different little areas, which is going to shift and change the shape of the area to its natural shape. So I'm going to do the same thing on my nose. See that little light spot? So I like to look far away, find it, and then target that light spot by looking in the mirror. So look, that right there already. Same thing, light little spot. Notice how I've got a little too much. Focusing on what I'm doing instead of talking. And I'm not thinking of contour lines. That doesn't always work. It works on stage and it works for pictures, but in reality, you can see it on people in person. So do you see how I just this side of my nose, because I'm not going to leave this one empty, it's already kind of made the nose match the area that it's around. It doesn't look as bumpy and textured. You always want to turn side to side. And now what's dark, I will subtract in just a minute. So do you see this little light area? This little light area makes this more prominent because they're next to each other. So what the light is always going to be right next to a very dark So we're just balancing that a little bit, and see how that softens that line just a little. Our lip elongates as we age. See what happens? This comes forward and falls down and gives us that bulgy, because this is falling down and collapsing in. So we want to push it back, and a little depth of color, taking away those light areas, that makes it come forward. See, look at the difference. See this light? It almost looks as if this lip is lifted. See, when I took away these couple little light spots in here and just balanced it with this greenish brown. Okay, now that is it. That's all I'm going to do with adding color. I've already subtracted color here. I'm going to do a little bit around my nose. I'm going to grab a smaller brush, it's an artist brush, and I'm just going to target here. I've already taken care of the under eyes. I'm going to use this same Y01. It's a yellow orange, which takes care of reddish, purple, and it's never the entire area. If you happen, as you're learning, you will find you might use too much. It's okay, but always strive to use less and a smaller brush. Do you see how that's already softer? And I'm just targeted a couple of subtracting now. We are subtracting the dark after we've already added depth. Now we've brought them back into balance, and so now it looks, also helps my nose to look smoother and not as textured. So let's see, when I smile, there's a little healing bump in there. I'm telling you, this Y01 can help with a lot of ladies with subtracting color. You don't need to get hung up on color theory. I always say some O3, a red one, a Y01, and with the three of those, you can do a whole lot. If you're more in the medium to the darker skin tones, you might need, you will need a Y1 and this O5. Does this mean that if I'm medium fair, I can't use any of it? No. Just saying, to filter out and to subtract color, you need a little more saturation of yellow. Do you see? Oh yeah. All right, watch this. I'm gonna take, you can see tiny little points. So we added color on either side of this crease, but in that crease, you'll see there's a couple of little dull, shadowy, little broken capillaries or something, and you see how that's a lot softer. This is the reason why. Okay, same thing here. There's a little red bump there, there. See that? That's a dark, dark freckle. And I'm not looking to erase every little tiny thing, just anything that's out of balance, and you can see how that's a lot smoother. Okay, now I want to take the wash brush and I want to add a little flesh to my cheeks. I don't have naturally fleshy cheeks, but at the same time, this is going to help with the blue veins that I have in my face. There are a couple things I can use, O5, or I can use this color called Ducky. I'm going to use O5, just a hint, just barely touch, using the wash brush, and I'm just going to tap right over top of those blue veins. Not to smear and smudge, because I don't want to disrupt the henna that I put on there in a couple of spots. And you see how that's a lot softer and the blue veins are not so translucent because that shadow of vein, I mean, it has some green in it, yeah, but this orange is going to take away the depth of the blue, because orange and blue are opposite of each other, and it will soften it. Can't go wrong with some orange. I'm telling you, if anybody, you don't have orange in your palette, you're missing out. Now I want a little bit of flesh in my cheek, a little bit of pink. I'm going to use this pink slip. Sometimes I use lavender skies. I'm trying to decide. Let's do this. I'm going to take a little bit of lavender skies, just a hint. And lavender, you know, is a purple, so it's going to have a little blue in it. So it's going to have a shadowing effect. And you can see when I put this down low, see how it gives me a little bit. Wipe it off and get a little pink and go above. I'm going to go right here underneath my eye. Take it to the temple, which is also going to help hollowness, translucent. I already have the orange there, so that's going to give more of a red orange, because you can overlap a red and an orange, okay? These guys really like each other. Giving it a red orange. I like to take just a hint, again, because the forehead is very translucent and looks frail. And just a little bit of pink to give a little bit of flesh. And you see how that gives us some balance. And so when I get a little more on my lips, you can see we have this nice little focus here that takes you to the eyes. Okay, now I want to take a nice, let's see, another little small brush, and I'm going to take a lavender skies. Again, I'm just doing 1/2. And I'm filling in, as we age, you get these little light spots. Do you see them? And I'm just tapping this lavender skies around the perimeter. Now, full disclosure, I've tried all the tricks with contouring and a brown around the lip area. For me, and I find for a lot of ladies on the older side that adding that around the mouth kind of, it's just very difficult to try or to apply, and it just looks dull and ashy on them. But using color to help balance the lip area, like I'm doing now, and making it soft, tends to me to be more beneficial. So I just added all those little light areas with that lavender. I'm going to take a little bit of pink slip. You may have your favorite lipstick. I'm just showing you because it's in my palette and it's what I like to use. And I'm going to put on a little bit of lip oil. Keep in mind I'm only doing 1/2. Now, do you see that pink that I have here? So, do you see how it just kind of, that does not, okay, there we go. Do you see? It's just a nice little balance. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of lip oil on, and then we're going to do the eyes. I'm trying to bring all the attention to the eyes. This is the Seint lip oil. Where's the little ST? There you go. See, I like that natural lip. Okay, so now let's do brows, and then we'll do the eyes. So I'm trying to decide if I want to, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to use a brow wax. You can use a little bit of water or a little bit of setting spray. That's all I use setting spray for, because with this method of makeup, you never have to set it. Now, if you feel like you get a little shiny, you can use a very, very fine milled powder and only tap where you do get shiny, and you can also use the little papers. But the shine here is not the product. The shine here is my skin. So that's a reason why it feels as if I'm not wearing anything. So I'm taking a little brow wax. I'm going to lay it down into the hair and let it set for just a second. And let it dry. And I love the brow wax. Plus it fits in my palette. Because it makes the older brows, they tend to... hey, Sharita Jones. I think that's Sharita. Is that Sharita? That's not Sharita. But anyway, I thought it was. Now I let it dry for just a second, and I'm taking my finger and I'm pressing it down and making them lay down nice and flat. Now I want to take this is the line brush. It has a spoolie and a nice little angled, stiff little brush here, so you can use it in multiple ways: lips, eyes, lining, brows. And I'm going to use a little bit of indigo contour and give a little bit of color, because I have some gray hair, blonde hair in there, and it needs a little bit of help. There we go. Now I'm going to take let's see, this is called the brow brush. You see it's a little bit bigger than the brush I was using. This is the spot brush. I love these little brushes. It's a little bit bigger and just a touch fluffier and easy to move around to do a little bit of sculpting around my eyes. I'm going to use this color called Envy Plus One. I could go ahead and use the henna and all that, but I like a little more depth. I could use indigo contour, but I love this Envy Plus One. You can still grab it. It will last you forever, and the tiniest amount. And I want to do the same concept as I did around my face. See that little light spot right there? You can also do this with tanner. I have tutorials on that. Again, I'm only doing one side of my face if you're just hopping on. And these little light areas, skin folds, things like that, I want to it's what's light's coming forward. Do you see this? See how that comes forward, and it just, I want to push it back. So a little bit of depth, pushes it back, recesses it just a little, but it also makes the light the dark not as dark. Like that little pocket in there had some dark in it, but I've just kind of balanced it. Do you see how this is opening up my eye just a little? And each eye is going to be different. This one's a lot more crinkly, comes down just a little bit. And I want to take just a little and enhance that part of my eye down in there. Hey, Heather. Just a little. There. Now I'm going to add some mascara, and this half of my face is done, and you just see the difference. Not as tired. Okay, a little bit of, I'm using L'Oreal Double Extend, isn't that right? Yeah. It's a tubular, and I love tubular, but I am going to be trying a chocolate brown mascara. Got it in my hair. And just takes it in. You can't let that dry. Lesson learned. You can't put that white stuff on and then let it dry and then come back. You got to work with it while it's there. Okay, so while I'm putting this on, if you don't have any of these pretty bright colors, you can go to outheagobble.com, grab some, go through my tutorials. I have tons. That's all I do is share this concept. I love teaching it, and I wear it every day. Those ladies who are local to me do in-person as well, in-person events. And if you're matched virtually or even in person, you will get graphics on how to place the color on your face. You will get little video clips on how to place it on your face. And you'll get help and support from me. And I try to keep my tutorials toward your questions, what you have, and been having a lot of questions and texts asking about this concept. How would they do it? And I want to be very gentle here. I have a little style wanting to, but I'm nursing it. It's almost better. Okay, done. All right, I'm going to take a picture of a half, and I want you to see the difference. Is like out of balance, okay, and more in balance. And it looks as if I've put on foundation, and it looks as if I've concealed, but yet I have, just zoom in, zero makeup texture. I still have variation of skin color because that's what I'm wanting. I don't want it to look as if I am wearing makeup and we're never one shade naturally. So I want that variation, but I don't have the disruptions of darkness and lightness. And do you see how this is all these different little light spots makes this harsher, but I soften that here and soften the light, and it's more in balance. And that is what I call the Demi Method. And like I said, completely addicted to this concept, and I love teaching it. All right, so I'm going to go and finish the other half of my face. Ask any questions in the comments. You can share this video. I appreciate it. You can be color matched. It's free. It's a free consultation. Go to yes.outheamatchme.com. If you didn't catch that, all the information is in my profile underneath with all my links. If you want to buy some of these colors and just play along and learn with me, you can go to outheagobble.com. All right, thanks guys. I hope you have a great Monday.